Hey, welcome back. So today I have a topic to talk about, and I might meet this Hinge person. I had a thought like, oh, maybe if we meet this weekend. So here's the plan. I mean, we haven't made a plan yet, so if by after this video she doesn't say anything, it's Friday night, I'll message her and be like, do you want to make a plan for this weekend or something? I'll figure out what to say later. But yeah, I'll talk about that later, I guess. Today's topic is hope. I talked about this when I did my Let's Play yesterday, and it's a topic that I want to explore more. I've never been someone who's had hope, or someone who's like appreciated the value of hope. I always thought it was kind of stupid, honestly, like to hope for something. Like, I guess when I didn't have a job that I liked, I could have hoped for a new job and been like, hope is the belief that something will change and be better. And I didn't believe that. I never believed that I would get a job that I liked, or went back 2 years ago or whatever. And I guess the first thing that made this concept come to my mind was I reread the New Testament. And the funny thing is, like, I'm always big about like love. Love is the most important thing, because inherently you kind of know that, and that's what the Bible says too. Everybody always says love, love, love. Love's so important. And it is, but I think that I was starting to get like hyper focused on love to the point where, like, if I'm not fully experiencing love, then I feel bad. Like, oh, I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing. Like, I'm not loving enough people, or I'm not connecting with enough people. And I guess that's kind of how I would feel with the relationship stuff. Like, I want to experience love and the most amount of love possible. That's what I'm supposed to do with my life. And if I'm failing at that, then like I'm failing at life. So the first thing that popped in, it kind of stuck out to me. There's a verse in the Bible that's like, faith, love, and hope are the most important things, but the greatest of these is love. And so that sticks out to you, like, okay, love. But hope this time stood out to me. Like, okay, maybe I need more hope. I never hope. I've always I think the thing about hope is, as kind of like a hyper overthinker, hyper logical person, it doesn't make sense to hope. It never does. Obviously, because you're hoping for something that doesn't exist. So it doesn't make sense to hope to be like, oh, that's going to happen. Well, why would you think that? It's never happened before. You've never had a job you liked. You've never had a girlfriend. Why would you think that it would happen? Why would you hope for that? Like, there's a part of you that's like, I don't want to be a fool, or I don't want to be made a fool, or I don't want to be made a fool by life, and I don't want to be caught off guard and like, oh, you hoped for this and you didn't get it. Like, why would you hope for that? You're so stupid. I think that's the thought that I would have, is like, hope is dumb. It's not pragmatic or practical. It doesn't make any sense to hope. So the Bible helped me, but then I was listening to Jon Stewart's podcast, which I really like, and he had a guy on who was like a civil rights guy or something, and he was talking about hope, and he said things can't change without hope, and he was talking about it in the context of civil rights and like slavery and Jim Crow. And so what he said was, the people in those times had even less of a reason to hope that things would change. And they still did. Because this was like the big thing he said, is like, things can't change without hope. And that actually does make a lot of sense. If you don't have hope that things will change, then you won't try to make them change. You'll just be like, why would I waste my time doing something that's stupid? And in the past, that is how I felt. Like, why would I waste my time going to this stupid board game thing? Why would I waste my time going to on a dating app or something? Why would I waste my time with that? It's never gonna work for me. It does sound a little trivial when I put it in that context. Like, these people are hoping that slavery is gonna end, and I'm hoping that, like, a girl will like me. It's pretty stupid. And I'm talking about this on Friday in, like, Ukraine. Oh my god. It's horrible. Whatever. I know. I mean, that's what this is. It's a journal. I mean, the Ukraine stuff made me feel bad, so that makes me a good person, right? The big revelation was the idea that things can't change without hope. It's kind of a hard thing to explain. I tried to explain it in the Let's Play video. So before, in my life, like before, I never really had hope. But the only reason I was doing these things is kind of like just because the therapist would tell me to do them, and then I would do them. I maybe had a little bit of hope, and that's why I went to see the therapist. But I never really hoped that things would change, and I never believed that they would. I don't know. I guess, like, things did change even though I didn't have hope, but now I guess I'm hoping that, like, now that I have hope, it'll, like, change faster or something. I'll, like, turn it turbo drive. But I have hope. It's kind of like, let's call it a new hope. So yeah, that was just the idea. Is like, should I have hope? No, obviously no. You've never done anything like this before. Why would you think you could do it? But if you don't have hope, things won't change. Like, even with hope, sometimes stuff doesn't change, obviously. But things will definitely never change without hope, without believing that it can. That's just how it works. It's kind of annoying, but... Well, obviously, when you think about it, of course, you need hope for the times when you shouldn't have it. But before, in those times, I would just be like, well, hope is stupid. Why would I waste my time hoping for something that will never happen? Why would I put this mental energy into, like, hoping, like, oh, things will get better, and then eventually they won't, because I know they won't. And you're just building yourself up to be let down. But yeah, just in that way to think about it, like, without hope, things can't change. So if you want things to change, you might as well hope. I don't know. So I'm hoping, right now my hope is to have a relationship. I think that I want that. I've had this thought, like, so there's this concept that I've read in 2 books that, in anthropology, that humans used to be hunter-gatherers, right? Like 20,000 years ago or whatever. And then we reached a point where we were starting to do agriculture more. And what happened was the people who were hunter-gatherers actually had better lives. Like, they were happier, they weren't working all day, they had better social relationships. But once they discovered agriculture, like, they couldn't stop doing it, even though it turned into this thing where, like, people who lived in agricultural societies at the beginning were living in much worse conditions because they were all grouped together. There was disease, there wasn't enough food, there were peasants who were starving. That didn't happen to hunter-gatherers. But for some reason, once we discovered agriculture, like, we couldn't stop progressing in that way. For some reason, I use this analogy. For me, it feels like relationships. I'm pushing towards relationships, even though it could be horrible. Like, I just feel this impulse to do it. Like, I gotta do it. Even though maybe 5 years from now, I'll be in, like, a horrible relationship, and I'll be like, oh, why did you push for this? you had the best life before. I don't know. It might be stupid to think about it like that, but there's something in me that's like, you've got to do it. And I guess it is that whole love thing. Like, I feel like I need to experience it more or something. So I'm hoping, even though I have no reason to, that I'll be able to experience the things that I feel like I should. I don't know. So, the Hinge girl has kind of been a weird experience. She doesn't message me, but the second I asked her, like, hey, do you want to do something? She seemed to be kind of excited about it. So I think maybe she just doesn't like being on the app or something, which I totally understand. I don't like being there either. But it does make me a little bit nervous because the times I met the other people, I was able to talk to them a little bit more, and I felt a little bit more comfortable meeting them. But this person, I don't know anything about her. I know I kind of like that she's a math teacher, but like that's it. And I'm just like, oh, you seem nice. We talked a little bit, and I'm like, I might as well just ask if she wants to do something because we're not really talking that much. So right after I finish this, I'm gonna message her because she didn't message me. Do you want to see her picture? No, I can't show you. I promise she's real. She's totally real. She just lives in Canada, and she's a model, and can't be here right now. So if I talk to her and she says she wants to meet like this weekend, I think tomorrow morning I'll do like a live stream and I'll just talk, even though I know nobody will show up. And if somebody does show up, they can give me advice like, how do I look? Is this going to be okay? Can I really do this? I mean, I have already done it, but it hasn't gone well. What I was talking about with the therapist this week is like, I have a little bit more confidence now. Like, I feel like I can be a friend with people, but does anybody really think that they would like waste their time on a relationship with me? I don't know if doesn't make sense that anybody would like want to be anything more than a friend with me. That sounds so lame. But that's what I think right now. And I'm just like, oh, because like when I met the other 3 people, I met them, we had a good conversation, which is like, I don't want to underplay how important that is. Like that I was actually able to have a conversation with somebody for like an hour and a half, and it wasn't like I didn't throw up on them or something. But it just seems like I'm not able to connect relationship because they just meet me and they're like, he's fine. Like, whatever. I don't know how I can ever experience like anybody being like, wow, you're super awesome. I don't know. That's never gonna happen. Like and previously I used to think like, oh, nobody could ever even like me. But now I'm like, okay, well, some people, maybe they could like me, but you need to like someone a lot to be in a relationship with them. And I don't know how or why anybody would want to do that with me, honestly. Because look at this pimple, that's why. Nobody can like me, I'm so hideous. And my hair is bad today. I was trying, this is so stupid to talk about. I'll cut this out. I was trying new things with my hair because I'm like, it's important to me to feel confidence, to have like my hair to be the way I want it. So I don't know, whatever. The other thing is, I mentioned the first 3 girls that I met, every time I talked to them, and then before we met, they said like, oh, they make kind of like a joke, like, oh, I don't think you're a serial killer, so let's meet, ha ha ha. And that made me feel kind of bad, like, this girl didn't say that yet, so. But I was thinking like, well, if she thought I was a serial killer, she wouldn't tell me, right? So maybe the other three didn't, but this one does. I don't know. Just pray for me. Forget about the people in Ukraine. Just pray for me. I'm just kidding. Yeah, the Ukraine is horrible. It's like the worst thing that's ever happened. Let's end on a positive note like I always like to do. So I started an Instagram account because the Social Anxiety Podcast has an Instagram, and so I followed her. And I also followed Owl City, and I followed Dan Harmon, who is the creator of Community. And I used to listen to a podcast called Harmontown. I've mentioned it a bunch. It's not on anymore, but it was like my favorite thing. Like 5 years ago or whatever. And it just came to my mind because I started following him on Instagram, and he actually posts a lot. And I've mentioned before, but like he is kind of, he's not, I don't want to say role model, but like when I hear him talk and the way he's able to express himself, especially in the podcast, and be like self-deprecating and be like funny but still kind of be nerdy and weird, and just be able to connect with people the way he does it is like, I want to be able to do that. So I was thinking about parts of Harmontown that I liked that I could share here, because I could just mention like Harmontown is something that made me really happy, and I was sad when it stopped, but he wanted to stop it, so a couple things came to mind, but the one that I wanted to share was he had a song for Night Court. So it's an old TV show, and I used to watch it probably on Nick and Night, called Night Court. It didn't have a theme song with words. It had music, and so he wrote a theme song for Night Court, like a goofy thing, and he sang it on his podcast once, and it always makes me happy to think about it. So, okay, I always feel awkward doing this, like playing something and just like, but let's play it.
I'd like to present to you my theme from Night Court, because I can't say all that and then not do it.
Yeah, you say it.
Days. Sorry. Me. Days in the courtroom aren't much fun. Come to the Night Court, everyone. Your frown's on trial. Approach my smile. I sentence you to stay a while.
God, that was from 2014. It was a long time ago. So, I don't know, that's stupid. But I do like that I do that now. Like, one thing a week that made you happy. Okay, so I'll message that girl and I'll keep you updated for what I'm gonna do. I might meet her tomorrow, or maybe next week, or maybe never. Who knows? And it will probably come to nothing anyway, but it's fine. I'm fine, you're fine, we're all fine. And see you tomorrow. Bye. Oh, I gotta have hope. I gotta have hope. And I guess that will be nice. Days in the courtroom. Boom, 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 boom.